All right, we are live, and the New York Mets are in the end game now. We're in the end game, boys. It's we're past the halfway point of the season. The All-Star break is next week, and this is where it begins. 15 games against the Bravos, couple
It's
series
so
against the
fucked up.
Yankees,
It's so fucked up that they did that. It's so fucked up.
It is time to fucking man up, nut up, put those fucking balls on the table like Keith Hernandez would have said back in 1986 and go win some motherfucking baseball game. Put some goddamn runs on the board. Put some goddamn runs. I know this podcast is going to have a lot of negativity in it because of the anemic offense the last week, but I just need to say everything's going to be all right because we're going to drink our Coors Lights. The mountains are blue in my heart till this day. They've been blue all season. They're going to be blue at the parade
How blue are they,
on November 2nd.
How blue are they, man? How blue are they?
They're blue, extremely blue, navy blue. Everything's going to be fine because Coors Light is the official beer that's made to chill. It's the official beer of everything unofficial. We're celebrating the moments that truly make summer chill. Baseball season, not chill when your opponent goes from 10.5 games to 1.5 games in like a month and a half. But that's all right because we're going to have our Coors Lights through us every step of the way, whether it's wedding, graduations, 4th of July barbecues. Not only that, but you can make the most of your summer with a chance to win exclusive chill merch, fun local experiences, even a trip to New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles. Enter win at CoorsLight.com/believe. Again, that's CoorsLight.com/believe. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends August 15, 2022. Game ends September 6, 2022. All 50 U.S. states plus Washington, D.C. 21 or older only. Void where prohibited. For rules, visit CoorsLightSummer.com. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. I could go on my whole Clem thing and try to get everyone fired up, but Kevin, give us the
here's the lay of the land.
Give us the lay of the land, Mr. Realistic.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you the lay of land. I keep it real. That's what I do. I some people think that I'm a shill. Some people think that I'm being positive and it's fake. I'm positive when I'm positive. I'm negative when I'm negative. I am down right now. I'm down bad right now. I am not optimistic, so I lean on my friend Clem. Clem is my sponsor. Clem is positive, but I don't think of it as like a stupid way. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, this guy always says they're going to win. Like he's never realistic. He did it the other night with the Reds. I was like, there's no way they're putting up 7 runs tonight. And there's no way we're even getting to 5. And then the unthinkable happens. And he held the Marlins game and they end up winning it. And, there is magic in this team this year. So there are plenty of reasons to stay positive. I think there's a couple things at play here right now. A lot of the injuries. I posted yesterday about Jeff McNeil being out, and the internet laughed, being like, Jeff McNeil is one of your best players. I mean, I'm sorry you guys don't know who Jeff McNeil is. He's a very good baseball player. He's better than your second baseman. I don't know what to tell you. So having Jeff McNeil out, having Marte out, and as much as McCann being a negative, is now out of the lineup, if you're dealing with Nito and Mazika the entire series, that's not exactly great either. So there's a hole at catcher either way. I think running into the Braves right now when our offense is just at its lowest, I figured we were going to break out of the slump by now. Starting to worry that this is not really a slump and that something needs to change in order to break out of that. And here's the thing with the Braves, man. I said this before, and I expected it to kind of slow down. If the Braves play 750 ball, they're going to win the division, guys. That's just, people are talking about them catching the Mets like it's the end-all, be-all. And it's like, listen, if this keeps happening, we're not going to win the division, and we're not going to win the division. We're going to lose it by a lot of games. That's if a team wins, 30 out of 40 games the whole way through, kiss the division goodbye. But that's not, I said the other day, do the Braves playing well mean the Mets are a bad team? Because that's what's going on right now. If the Mets win 100 games, but the Braves win 110, or the Mets bad? That to me is the old school thinking. That is fans who continue to make fun of the Mets and think about the Wilpons era Mets. That's the Frank the Tank brain. We have not played the Braves yet. Now, if we step up this week and get swept and they take the lead, now we have contributed to the fact that we blew this lead. Now you can criticize the Mets. Up until now, we're playing over 500. The Braves are just playing way better than anybody else in baseball. I will say their record, their schedule. I hate to point to schedules because we went through this ourselves, but it's undeniably a light schedule. I thought that the Cardinals were going to play them better. They didn't. I was hoping that was going to be like a, come back down to earth. I was hoping that when the Mets played them, they'd be at full strength and hitting their stride, and that would be coming back down to earth. That does not seem to be happening with the injuries and the timing. So I'm putting all of my faith in Max Scherzer right now. Like, it needs to be like 8 innings, no runs, and we need to squeak out 1 or 2 against Max Fried, or we need to break out of this slump somehow. It's going to have to be our big guns. Pete and Lindor have to hit. The other guys have to step up, and the pitching has to be like spotless, because the Braves, whether or not it's coming against impressive teams doesn't really matter to me, because baseball's stupid. And once all of a sudden you start winning that many in a row, you go out there like you got a 10-inch dick no matter who the opponent is. Mm-hmm. And as much as I love this team, from day one, the Braves on paper have probably the best lineup in baseball. To start to compare some of these guys, batting 7th, 8th, and 9th to the Mets, it's fucking insane. The top half, there's some arguments to be made. But when, Michael Harris is batting 9th, it's like, yeah, man, these guys are fucking great. It's just never had anything to do with the Mets until now. Now we play them. And everybody knows that first series doesn't really count because, it does count, but it's just like we know we're playing a different team now. So, I'm not going into this optimistic. Clem said, remember that 3 home run game with Lindor. Remember games like that where, you didn't have faith and all of a sudden they turned it on. And it's not like I'm sitting here, being like, we're going to get blown out and swept. It's just, I think it's going to take a little more of that Mets magic, and hopefully that can still come out even when you're playing cream of the crop teams. The Marlins, throwing the ball all around the field is way different than the Braves. That's what my fear is.
So what we have with Mets and Braves, there hasn't been a team the Mets have lost to that the Braves have beat. There hasn't been a team they've won against that the Braves have lost.
Wait. Say that again.
There hasn't been, when it comes to matchups, the Mets and Braves are beating up on the same teams. Let me just settle it down like that. Like, the Mets are 7-4 versus the Marlins. The Braves are 5-4 versus them. The Cardinals, the Braves won 3-4 at home versus them. We did the same thing. We're 5-2 versus them. I think that's what we've seen over the last 4 months. These are 2 very equal teams. And it's just going to be the 15 head-to-head matchups that we have remaining that are going to decide who wins.
Don't you think there's something to, baseball's not played on paper, but on paper, these are not even teams.
No, on paper, they are not.
Every single batter has 20 home runs. There is a gap there that I think is starting to show itself that wasn't in the early going. That's what scares me a little bit. And by the way, I don't think that you have to win the division. If were people talking about the Braves being if they don't win the division, they're fucked? No, because they were going to be right there as well. I think this can go down to the wire. And if one's the wild card and one's the division winner, I don't think it fucking matters once you're there. But I do get worried that it's all of that is true, what you said about we've beaten up on the same teams. We've done a lot. Our records are the same against everybody. But like I said, when your 9-hitter is, capable of 25 bombs and our 4th hitter is not, it starts to worry me a little bit.
So what was I going to say? I had to come back to me.
We're also running into a team that's as hot as they've ever been. And they went from, I don't even know what they were in runs scored. They're 3rd in the league in runs scored, which is where the Mets were, and they're 2nd in the league in home runs. So it's those are 2 byproducts of the fact that all their guys are scorching hot, and all of our guys are very streaky all of a sudden, where it's you need Escobar to come out and have a good series. You need Cano to be putting the ball in play and not just singles because nobody else is driving them in. It just so happens that we lucked out, honestly, that we're playing the Reds and the Marlins at a time where nobody's really hitting. If you can't get up for a 3-game series against the Braves with a 1.5-game lead going into enemy territory, then I don't need that team anyway. You need.
Yeah, I hear you, but baseball baseball's such a different sport of to a man, there's nobody in that locker room that's not up for this series. It's just that baseball's not really a sport where hype and anger and energy really translates. You almost need the opposite of that. I want them going into this series being this is the same shit that we did back in fucking April, May, and June. Whatever, man. We're just about our business. But I do hear what you're saying. If you can't get it done now, then
even just the preparation going into it. You're at the ballpark early. Your eyes are wide. You're I'm going to take extra reps in every single facet.
Yep.
You're not tired for these games. That's the difference.
Yeah, for sure.
You're not rolling out against the Marlins this team is garbage,
I have no problem. Like, Max Fried, great pitcher. Like, you're not going to face anybody better in this world than what they just faced with Sandy Alcantara on the Marlins. Like, they have seen the absolute best twice in the last week, along with the Astros a couple times the last couple weeks. They have faced really good baseball, equal to or better than the Braves, and there's no reason. I mean, some of that shit didn't go well, but some of it did. So, like, I don't think there needs to be like any fear of it. But I'm just saying that, like, I mean, Clem, how are you feeling? Are you confident, or are you just thinking like it's because there's just hasn't been much in the last week to be thumping our chest about?
It's so I wrote this to you. I texted this to you. I think it holds court, just seeing over the last few years, especially when we did the podcast. I realized the fans get more angry and feel more hopeless when it's really bad hitting going on instead of really bad pitching. With bad pitching, you're like, all right, the offense can get us out of this, and you feel like you're watching a back and forth game. Yeah. When your team loses, whether it's 2-0 or 8-0, you're just like, well, we don't have a fucking shot, because you can't win a baseball game if you don't score a run. Yeah. So this current stretch here is about as bad as it's going to get in terms of, like, I feel like the fan. I hope it's
well, you know what it is to me. The two worst, and they're 1A and 1B. I don't even know which way it is. It's the anemic offense and a bad bullpen. We've watched bad bullpens our whole life because both of those things erase a win. You can have great pitching, and if you score 0 runs, you're not going to win. If you put up 10 on the board, but that 6, 7, 8, and 9 are going to give up 3 runs an inning, you're going to lose the game. So, and I think, unfortunately, we've seen a little bit of both of that. I mean, aside from Diaz, who I'm ready to call the best closer in baseball, he's fucking untouchable. Getting to him, I used to have a lot of faith in Drew Smith. I used to have faith in I still got Holderman is still my guy, but like there's a couple dudes that you really thought like, okay, we're gonna get there, and now it's like Lugo, nothing. Ottavino is the inherited runner's king. Smith is giving up the long ball left and right. So to me, anemic offense plus bad bullpen is why I think I'm extra down right now.
Oh, I don't think the bullpen's even been that bad. I just think they've been a bullpen, and yeah. And Diaz is from another planet. But at the same point with the offense, like just in the last week, the Mets scored 7 runs, 8 runs, 10 runs, and 5 runs. Granted, 2 of those were in extra innings, and it took the Marlins.
There's a difference between that. I'll take that game where you put up 8 on the Reds in 1 inning or whatever it was, but I'd much rather 8 runs be 2 runs in the first, 2 runs in the third, 2 runs in the 7th, and 2 runs in the 9th.
Yeah, that's just, and that's basically, we've said this a million times.
Much different than just a big inning.
I'd rather lose or win every game 5-2 instead of you have 3-2 than 10-9, because it's just you're doing the spikes, and that's just baseball in general. And I feel like Mets fans are going through it right now because we're kind of going through that. But at the end of the day, all that matters is the fucking result. The Braves yesterday went 12 innings with the Nationals and had like a million chances to score. Both sides had preposterous plays that even made it go that long, and they had to use their bullpen heading into the series. So it's like going into this, I'm going to say, all right, Max is on the mound, which we've had good pitching like almost every time. So doesn't even feel like a win. We have, hopefully Lindor, Pete, someone just steps up in the big moments.
And need a big home run. That's what we haven't had a big. I shouldn't say that because Lindor just hit one. But like, if they can just put like a 3-run bomb on the board against them, it's like it would just give a little bit of breathing room. They've had their moments here and there. Lindor hit a couple, Pete hit some, but like I just the long ball would help a little bit. I know that's not how we're built, but right now, when I was very confident that like, people were saying, you're batting 300 with runners in scoring position. That's not gonna last. And I know that's not gonna last. You're not gonna bat 300 over the season, but I also didn't expect it to disappear, because I didn't think things like infield singles and slap hits the other way, where it's just like, yeah, these keep happening because they're fast, they hustle, they're smart. But even those disappeared over the last few weeks. And it's like that, if that's not going to be happening and we're not built for power, then where does it come?
Yeah. And listen, I think that sometimes when those all go together, but then they all disappear together, that's when you look worse than you are. And in the end, the guys who just took that plane ride and are out the hotel and getting ready, the guy who they're talking to is in the middle of the locker room. It's Buck. And I have fucking all the faith in Buck. Trust in Buck. That's all I can really say. And I can tell Phil is about to jump out of his skin. He has his mojo back. Phil, give it to me, baby.
So but people have had this thought in their heads, like, this is going to be the series that we had last August where we faced the Phillies, like a game and a half ahead, and we got swept there because you just came off a disappointment versus Miami. That's in their head. They're like, oh, it's going to be the same old NL East. 88 wins won the NL East last year. I'm not sure if 98 wins it this year.
For real. I think there's just no comparison to last year. Even if there might be similarities between up 1.5 and facing the team with the lead, there might be coincidences. The team is not the same. The players are not the same. The fans are the same, unfortunately. The deadline will hopefully be the same in the sense that we're moving and shaking.
Played them 12 times after the deadline, by the way. So
yeah,
the next 12 times after we face them, it'll be different teams.
I said this to Clem, and I don't mean this in a loser mentality, even though it is what I'm gonna say is a loser mentality in some way. People are putting so much weight into first place. It almost feels like an undefeated season in football, where it's like I'd rather you just lose one game and then get back to like okay, it happened. Now it's not going to happen. You now get back to playing good ball. Like if the Mets relinquish first place to the Braves while they're playing 800 baseball, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. I feel like this 10.5 game lead thing took on a life of its own, at least with the fan base. I don't know what the players are thinking. It started out being like the Mets are going to lose a 10-game lead in a matter of 10 days. And then it didn't. And then it was 2 weeks. And then it was 3 weeks. And then it became like 45 days. So now if the Braves play 800 ball over the course of 50 days and take over that lead, I don't think that's that crazy. Especially if it's all the while you're playing over 500 ball, nearly 600 ball. So part of me is like, all right, what if we go lose 2 out of 3? The Braves are in first place. And then what? It's the middle of July. There's so much baseball left. So now we're just a second place team that's playing in a division with one of the best fucking teams in the game. Now, by the way, forget about first place, forget about that lead, and go play baseball.
The Dodgers have 55 wins. They haven't led in first place wire to wire. Like,
right, that's what I mean.
Out because the Padres are a good baseball team. The West is competitive. Like, shit happens where it's not the end of the world. That's the thing that I don't understand with Mets fans who understand how baseball works, but at the same time, they expect it to be all or nothing. Where
the Mets keep it the entire time. We don't ever go wire to wire. This is like, how do we go from losers to we have to win every single game and sweep every single series, or I melt down publicly and talk shit about the team? We were just a bunch of bums for the last fucking decade. We just turned it around, and now you expect perfection and excellence every single time. And again, it's a 10.5 game lead that would have stood up against any other team minus the Yankees. And the Braves happen to go on a Yankees-esque streak. I don't know what it's just like. I don't know. It sucks that we're in the same division. Sucks that the Braves are really good. But to me, it's almost like, let's get that over with. What if this happens? What if let's say the Braves win 2 out of 3. Let's say the Braves sweep. We lose first place. What if the very next series the Braves get swept and we sweep and we're back in first?
Well, I'll say this: we're playing the Nats next series after us. They're not getting swept.
Well, but my point being that it's like, okay, so they're in first now in the middle of July. What if at the end of the July the Mets are in first, and then it goes back and forth a couple times? I almost wish it was. I wish we could lose it and gain it and lose it and gain it a couple times, just so that people would shut the fuck up about it.
I wish
that's how baseball races are.
Like, it would have been that simple. They were literally this good in April, so that way we never had a 10.5 game lead. Then you'd be thinking, like, oh, those are good all the time.
If this was just like we were up 1, down 1, up 1, down 1. We went on a streak, we went up 3. They went on a streak, they went up 3. Now it's back to 1.5. It happened to be all and then none, and we're on the downside of that. But also, if this was the end of the season, sure, I'd be freaking out. There's fucking, 75 games left.
And I told you guys in the chat yesterday, the 2006 team, it's probably the best team I've ever seen, probably the best team of the 21st century for the Mets. They were 51-35, 86 games in. This team is 2 games better. The only difference is that team was up 12.5 games because that division sucked in 2006.
Right. Yeah. Right. And that's the difference here. It's like the division doesn't stink this time. We've gotten lucky a couple, like both of the times they've made their big runs in the last 20 years, the division stunk. We had it wrapped up in like early September. That's not the case now. Get ready for a fucking pennant chase. Like, this is what it's about. Man up, you fucking pussies.
It's gonna be a fucking dogfight. It's gonna be like, in a sick way, it's gonna be fun. It would be a lot more fun if we were the team that was hot going into the game, like we were back in 2015 against the Nationals, and you're like, all right, we're gonna like dust these guys. But going back to like whether it's us who gets hot or the Braves just stay as hot as they've been, the Seattle Mariners won 116 games in 2001. The Oakland A's came in second, 14 games back. and had 102 wins. And you know what? They still made the playoffs. The fucking Yankees, they could never beat the Yankees. Obviously, I think that was the Jeremy Giambi year and all that kind of shit. But it's like that kind of shit happens. You're a good team.
They were up what 2-0 in that series or whatever it was. Like they were right there. If it wasn't for that fucking flip, that's they probably end up beating the Yankees that season.
And Phil,
it's just like sometimes, man. I know Clem is in Cohen Lina. I know he doesn't engage. I just, some of these fucking fans that I continue to argue with, I'm just like, sometimes I'm thinking to myself, are you like 15 years old and you've never even been like, am I arguing with some kid on the internet who's never been in a baseball division where two teams are good? Like, would I have loved to just keep the lead forever? Would I love for the Braves to play shitty forever? Yeah, they didn't. Now shut the fuck up, man. Like, yeah, some disappointing games against the Reds and the Marlins. Like, the Braves had all of those early in the year. It is what it is, man. Like, now it's just about continuing to play good baseball, which if the Marlins proved to be they are who they thought we were, because I said after those first two series, I was so nervous about them and we beat the shit out of them. And I was like, all right, the Marlins aren't the thorn in our side. And then they proved to be just that. But, like, Pete's going to get hot again. Lindor is going to get hot. You're going to make moves. If you're ready, if you're ready to just like give up faith, then like just don't fucking watch anymore. Whatever, dude. I just can't. What else does it take other than you have to play as good as the Braves, who are on like a historic level run? Anything less than that means you're not good. All right, then the Mets aren't good. Goodbye.
Yeah, Keith Hernandez said it best in his speech, which, by the way, Keith Hernandez Day feels no less than 3 weeks ago right now. It was 2 days ago.
It was so nice. It was so fun. It was like classic, Amazins with all the crazy shit that happened. The ball getting by Buckner, all that shit. But that loss took the wind out of that sail real quick.
I wanted to play this. I was going to put it on Twitter, but I guess I could just play it on the pod instead. But I love Keith's quote, and he said it about the team.
This current team, I love to watch.
That's my wife yelling at my kid.
This team comes out and hustles. They play hard and comport themselves like professionals. It is a treat.
No, it's so true, man.
Your support to this team, like you gave us in the 80s.
I mean, if you can't listen to Keith on Keith Hernandez Day, his one wish is just to support this team like they did the teams in the 80s. I don't know what to tell you, man. It's a frustrating team right now, but it's a different team. It's a good team. And I mean, like, just the internet has definitely broken a lot of brains over the last couple of years.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Because like everybody at the park that day, they were there for Keith. They were there for the Mets. Anybody who's there and comes out is supporting the team. It's a great home field advantage. Remember that the Mariners game that felt like it was the fucking playoffs and that like shitty cold night. Like the crowd's electric. It's everything on the internet. Unfortunately, the internet has more reach and the players see that shit. And that's where we get some of our bad reputation. But if like the bad offense, the only reason I feel like I can get through watching the bad offense is because we've seen several times now that they'll get it done in the 9th or the 10th. Like they don't roll over and die. They don't say like, fuck it. We're not getting a run off the Reds today. Like, let's pack it in and go home tomorrow. They never quit. They always hustle. They take advantage of opportunities. They take advantage of mistakes. They're clutch enough in these spots. They have like no-name guys who seem to come up in big spots. And so if they as long as they keep hustling, you don't ever see anyone lollygagging down the line. You don't see anybody giving away an at-bat in the 9th because like, fuck it, the game's over. So if they're still willing to play to the bitter end and have these 5-run comebacks and these 7-run innings and these, miracle extra innings performances, all this shit, then like that, that they're trying, that they don't like this. They're not, it's not like they're pressing and giving up and shit. And like we've seen in many Mets, years gone by, fucking poker in the clubhouse and shit like that. Like we know that there have been teams that just give up and don't care. These guys do care. They're not like the most talented. They're not the team that has the all-star lineup top to bottom, but they are like built well when they click. And right, it just hasn't clicked, but they're not like not out there trying to click. It's just a matter of when it does happen.
I mean, James McCann probably gave away the rest of his season for that tag on Saturday.
Right. Yeah, we sacrificed McCann.
Honestly, that was a human sacrifice. It was a great tag. That play was unbelievable. That
worst
relay
base running I've ever seen. Like,
what's that?
Worst base running I've ever seen.
Jesus Sanchez.
I did not know what happened. I thought it was the runner from first because I was like, "There's no way." I was waiting for the scoreboard bug to change. I was like, "Wait, that guy's from second base." The ball went to the wall in the gap. But I got to give my man Luis Guillorme credit. That was Tommy Mansky just coming all over himself in the grave. That perfect catch and throw, like as he was falling, was absolutely incredible. But yeah, I mean, these guys are giving like absolutely their all. It's just not like going their way right now. But I'm praying that this means that August is as hot as May and June were, and that it is a game of runs and streaks. And you just got to hopefully handle your business a little bit this series. I would just give anything to win this first game, get it out of the way. Like, the difference between a sweep and 2 out of 3 is massive because obviously it's only a 1-game swing versus that 3-game swing. So like you win one and take a little bit of the pressure off. And I just think it's going to take we had the moment with Alcantara yesterday, 6th inning, 2 on, nobody out, and they didn't score. I'm hoping and I'm thinking there's going to be a moment like that with Fried, and you just have to capitalize then. These pitchers, when they're this good, you got like one shot at it, and if you don't capitalize, you're probably looking at a 1-run or 0-run ball game. And I just need them to come through on one of those spots. And I mean, I think tonight's going to be that. Like both of them are going to go out there. I feel like I love Max Scherzer. I've seen enough of Max Scherzer as an opponent to know, but I also feel like I don't know him yet as a fan of him, where I trust that he is like ready to fucking roll Stu Feiner style. Like if this is why you go sign a guy like Max Scherzer, and I think he knows that and wants that. And so I'm expecting him to just go out there and fucking shove. If he doesn't, it'll crush me. Like that will be a crushing moment for me if this is like not a great Max performance, because he's the guy. He doesn't give a fuck about Frank the Tank and those fans. He doesn't give a fuck about us, the Mets history, the Wilpons, the Cohens. He doesn't give a fuck about any of it. He just wants to be back out there, and I think this is the moment that he's going to do it. But if it doesn't happen somehow, that will be disappointing. Major.
Yeah, Acuna 7 for 20 career against him with 2 bombs, and what is it? Ozuna is 11 for 41 with only 2 bombs, but everyone else is either hasn't really faced him much or pretty anemic. But I feel like the Braves just as much want to get on top of him, and then we will be. I mean, Panic City won't even be the word if there is an early lead. By
Panic Galaxy, Panic Universe. If Max gives up like 3 in the first, forget it, bro. I genuinely will stay off of social media. Like it's already bad for my health. If God forbid the Braves have a lead, I'm staying off of Twitter. I can't do it. These people are like literally bad for my health.
Literally, I'm watching all the comments come by, and I cannot tell whether or not it's Mets fans or it's trolling us. And that's when you know it's a shit show.
That's what drives me nuts. Is like I saw when we won with the walk-off error, somebody tweeted like all smoke and mirrors, LOL. And I clicked on it thinking it was a Braves fan. It was a fucking Mets fan.
Yeah.
And then he tweeted at me, and then he tweeted to his timeline like this is all smoke and mirrors. And I'm like, what are you even doing, man? Like, again, it's not. We used to do that with the Wilpons because it was like, hey man, our ownership is gonna take those wins, which we know are lucky, and that's the reason why they won't go sign people. And that's the reason why they won't try to get better, because of wins like that. So I'd rather those things not happen because it's actually bad for the future. That's not the case here, man. They are going to try and spend no matter what. So just be thankful and happy that they're hustling and that Brandon Nimmo's running down the line to cause that error. It's a good thing. They earned it. They took advantage of bad play. It's not smoke and mirrors. It's like, and the fact that our own fans say that, It's like I fucking hate the Braves fans, but at least they like their own team. Like, be more like them. For real. It's like they're these fucking scumbag hillbillies who I hate, but they go out there every night being like, who the fuck are we beating tonight? Who's catching an ass whipping tonight? Well, Mets fans are just pussies. Shut the fuck up.
And what's the difference, Kevin? What's the difference from all the years past? And I'm going to put it up on the YouTube right now. Get your fucking wallets out. It's this guy. I got fucking a shirt of Uncle Stevie and the Ghostface Killer in his fucking luxury box.
Cash rules Cohen rules everything around me. This shirt, I didn't even know. Did she
just texted it right now.
Dude,
so
that is gold. Let's go.
I just said we got to get this up in the store, and we're going to be putting it up right now. Steve Cohen in his fucking $1 billion luxury box with Ghostface Killer. Where are the Wu-Tang at?
Killer throwing up the Wu-Tang W. And what does it say there? It says straight out of Shaolin, right? Unbelievable. Like, that is one of those moments. It is like guys from different spectrums of the universe, but they all respect each other because they're just so fucking gangster. Your owner could never. Look at that. Like, I just can't imagine what was going on in that fucking suite. Like, where I just imagine Cohen being like, oh, really, Ghostface? Let me introduce you to my wife. Like, here she is. It's just hilarious, the imagery. And shit like that matters. Like, all of it matters. Keith Hernandez number retired. Tom Seaver statue. Black jerseys. Old Timer Day. Hanging out with the Wu-Tang Clan. 5 things that the Wilpons would never, ever, ever fucking do that Cohen does like that. And the fans love it. And we become like the talk of the town. And you just keep them happy with things off the field while things on the field are a little bit of a struggle. I can't, like, why the Wilpons just worked against themselves because of their petty differences, I'll never understand. But thank God that Cohen is out here. He's like Capadonna. He's like an unofficial member of the Wu-Tang Clan now.
That's your juju cleanser for the day. And again,
Yes.
like we say shirts are going to be on sale for a limited time. This might not even it might go up and then it's the fucking Grandpa Simpson gift and right out. So I can't promise you guys if you don't get this, by the time this podcast hits the airwaves, it might already be taken down, but we're going to get it up because I think the fucking fan base needs a juju cleanser right now. Kev, you mentioned it and we said it before the pod. Keith Hernandez Day was 2 days ago. It feels like it was, 3 years ago or whatever. It was awesome. The ceremony was great. And I tweeted it and then Gary kind of said it. He's like, this ceremony just felt different. We've had ceremonies like this. And I think it's because the guy who's at the top of the org chart has a fucking brain and he hires people who have brains and everything just was so smooth, well done. It just felt official, right?
Yeah, but you know what the difference, the difference is too? It's the guy getting honored because Keith Hernandez is a bad motherfucker, right? He is all that is man. He is cocky. I encourage everyone to go watch on our YouTube channel. I did an interview with him in 2018. He was supposed to come to the studio. He couldn't because of his schedule. And rather than canceling, he said, why don't you just hop in the car with me while we're driving between my appearances and we'll eat some lunch and we'll talk. And I just got to shoot the shit. I wish almost all interviews were done that way, by the way, because it was like he didn't feel like he was doing an interview. He was just like talking to me in the backseat of his car. And he is just this dude who is always cool, calm, and collected, always like the smoothest guy in the room. TV appearances, World Series, MVPs, just for men. Like he is like a sex icon, a baseball icon, a TV icon. And even he was like getting teary-eyed and getting emotional. And like you could just tell it means a ton. I think he desperately wants to be in the real Hall of Fame, and it hurts that he's not. And I think that the Wilpons having whatever bullshit they had with him where they wouldn't allow him around the team and all that kind of shit, I think, he would never admit to it, but I think it weighed on him. And I think when the guy getting honored is truly honored by it and humbled by it, it feels that different. And like every interview he did with Gelbs, everything he was saying felt very genuine and honest. And yeah, then they have that unbelievable mural made out of the tickets, and they had everybody in his life, his brother, his family, his kids, teammates, like everybody was there. It was, and then you have Howie as the MC. You got Gary there with him. I mean, you have the best in the business doing it. But it's just like one of those things that was such a no-brainer, and it feels silly to even have it take this long. But finally, it's done, and it happened right. And I think Keith's like the look on his face and the things he was saying, I think shows how appreciative he was of it. And that's why it felt different, because we knew like how much he wants it.
And again, this is like all the things with the numbers and everything. It's like we're still the New York fucking Mets. We're not this great franchise that has a billion people and we're running out of numbers to retire here because we have so many great players. It's embarrassing that Keith Hernandez didn't have it replaced yet, considering what he meant to the team and on a legendary team. And Heyman tweeted out, I love John Heyman's basically like our PR branch now. Like Buster Olney is a troll. He tweeted out that list of all the playoff teams in terms of percentage and just straight up left the Mets out. Forgot, not forgot. I don't know. I'd actually respect him more if he was just trolling us the whole time.
Yep.
But John Heyman, he tweeted out the Keith Hernandez stats: 11 straight Gold Gloves, matched by 6 other guys, all in the Hall of Fame. Gold Glove leader at every position is the Hall except for Keith. First in on base percentage from 1979 to 86. Most
403. Holy shit.
Most durable from 76 to 87, 1797 games, and is 128 OPS plus, better than all Gold Glove leading infielders, which includes Alomar, Ozzie, and Brooks. So that right there, it's like, yeah, Keith Hernandez should be in the fucking Hall of Fame, and that is a very, very, very biased person saying that.
How does the Hall how does he even still have a shot?
The Veterans Committee.
So you can still get in, like, because I know Gil Hodges got in, like, this year, even though he's dead. So like you're on the ballot by the writers, and then you fall off that after a certain amount of time with a certain amount of votes, and then after that it's up to veteran players.
Yeah, it's a panel of veteran players, and like they do it by era. So like his era's not up yet.
Okay.
So it's not like every single one. They're like, oh, it's this generation. Then they look at all the players that were snubbed.
So okay, so it's really, I would hope, more about just waiting for that to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
The Hall of Fame's a joke anyway.
Yeah,
I know it is. Anyway. It's so stupid, but it's like going forward, I don't think I'll care ever again if there's like a snub. But like for a guy, knowing that Keith Hernandez cares because the Hall of Fame meant something back then, I think he deserves to like die knowing that he's in the Hall. Like if fucking one of these superstars somehow gets snubbed in 15 years when they retire, Mookie Betts somehow doesn't get in or some crazy shit, I'd be like, whatever, who fucking cares?
That's the thing now too. They're already ready to put them in while they're still playing on the field. Like 10 years into it, they're like, oh, that's a Hall of Famer. And it's like, how the fuck do you look down the road at all those other old players that got snubbed?
Right.
Andrew Jones is a prime example of like, that's a guy who's good at defense, who had some good offensive numbers. Clearly, he's one of the best center fielders probably ever. And he's not in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. So don't ever take it for granted, man.
I mean, our guy Mark Gooden of the Federalist tweeted out that under the Wilpons era, I think like 5 Mets wore number 17. Steve Cohen retires the number.
Yo, Dae-Sung Koo wore number 17. Shout out to Koo, man.
These seniors, the last Mets wore 17.
Hey, he did hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning. Okay, and he fucked Joe Buck. So listen, let's relax. Mark Gooden, dude, the guys. Johnny did a Colorado Avalanche review video, and Mark Gooden wrote like, wow, very timely. Maybe you can do the Battle of Gettysburg next. And somebody said like, wow, you must be fun at parties. And someone else replied, he's not fun at parties. He's the New York Mets beat reporter at the Federalist. And I was just like, this man has created this whole fucking this army of trolls. It is so great. I love it. I can't get enough Mark Gooden.
We need like Mark Gooden, and he needs to like mobilize his army towards the Braves fans because they are now, trolling the fuck out of Mets fans, and we need to just have like a civil war, a battle of Gettysburg over there, so I can enjoy these games.
Union and the
yeah, I mean it even plays right, the North and the South, and we need someone to burn Atlanta to the ground like Sherman did once upon a time.
Bro, you know what the real problem is? I will say it. The real problem is all of the people like Frank are fucking dumb. They're dumb people. So like. When a Braves troll or a Padres troll starts to get in the mix, they're smarter than dumb fucking Mets fans like Frank, who are too stupid to even understand like logic about sports and baseball and games and wins and losses. They're like actually unintelligent people. So they're the morons who line up for fucking 4 hours to get a bobblehead. Those fucking people are crazy, man. So yeah, like they're a bunch of unintelligent morons who are then like representing our fan base. Like fucking hate that the most. It's like, look at these Mets fans, they're idiots. Like, no, we just have idiots in the Mets.
I took that video I got online when the gates opened, and there's people actively online going, is there just a line where like I could just skip the bobblehead? Like, can I just go into the fucking ballpark?
Yeah, right.
they're pushing everybody into this one gated area, and it's like a pig pen of people because I didn't go through the main gate. And it was like at a certain point, then every time they had to stop. Otherwise, it'd be like bottleneck. They had to let everyone get through.
Yeah.
This old dude who's like 80 some odd years old standing out in the sun passes out on the ground. They're trying to like resuscitate him. He gets back up. They're like, all right, so like we need to take you out. He's like, fuck that. I'm getting the bobblehead.
I guess at that point you're pot committed, but what the fuck?
They're like creatures.
I've never been. Are any of you guys a memorabilia guy?
I like a little bit of it, but I'm not like that. I'm not.
For what's funny is you can look at the line. It's like, dude, there's clearly going to be 10,000 of them in existence. Whatever you're getting isn't rare. Because look at all the fucking people that are about to get it. It's not like you're going to get some rare piece of, of history. It's thousands upon thousands of them exist. Every now and then something very, very cool, like that's one of a kind, or something like from a stadium or whatever. But people who do that for bobbleheads and balls and shit, I'm like, what the fuck is this about?
Yeah, it's great. And, I understand everyone loved Keith and all that kind of stuff. But like you said, 90-degree heat, 3-hour lines for giveaway. It's like, nope, 1 hour long. And I think as you get older, I think people used to really be like, no, there's no fucking, even Shake Shack is not a thing to me right now.
No
Waiting
way.
online is your brand. Go fuck yourself.
Okay, let's go around. What would you wait in a 1 hour line for? 1 full hour. I can't think of a single thing. I can't think of a person, a thing, an item, a food. And I'm not talking like go, here's the buzzer. You can go shopping for an hour and then come back. Like if you just sit there and do nothing for a fucking hour.
I mean, you were the thing back in the day. What's the longest you drive for sex on KFC radio, right?
Yeah. But even that, at least you're driving. You're just like, I'm going from point A to point B. Just sitting there drives me even crazier. Maybe if it was like at the end of this 1 hour wait, you can have sex with this person. Maybe I would consider that. Otherwise, no fucking shot.
Yeah, you're talking like win the World Series. I'll wait the World Series for 3 hours. I guess
even like if it was like wait outside for hours to get into the ballpark for a World Series game, I'd be like, I will just go watch this on my couch and listen to the broadcast and enjoy myself. Like I will not do that.
Yeah,
there's nothing.
The only time I think I've considered it, and I had never done it because it just sounds like fucking miserable, is like SNL, because it's like a bucket list item.
Yeah,
where you have to wait the night before those people camp out like homeless people. I can't even bring myself to consider it.
The last line I ever waited on that was really long, and it's the only thing I would ever do it for, and unfortunately it can no longer happen, is the Bordy Barn. The Bordy Barn is now gone. I'm happy I did it. I waited on the Bordy Barn line for probably like 2 full hours. And then when I got in there, it was the funnest bar experience I've ever had. So it actually lived up to the hype. So maybe the Bordy Barn is the only thing that I would say is worth a line. Otherwise,
and you're sauced up before you get in too. So it's like, it doesn't feel like an hour.
And that was the thing. I was dressed. I had like a Native American headdress on. I'm drunk. I'm talking to the people online in front and behind me. It's like you're already in the bar. But I mean, other than that, especially for sports or any sort of item, I ain't waiting for shit, man.
So, and at that game had absolute craziness. It was, like you said, Luis Guillorme showed the great side of the fundies, and then the Marlins showed the bad side of the fundies. It was the perfect game for a key thing. A little bit of 86 vibes in there too, with the ball getting passed. And then with that win, Frank Fleming was officially shut the fuck up for the rest of July. That was our gift to the Mets fans of the world.
Easiest bet in the world, Clem.
I had to.
I thank you. Like everybody tweet hashtag thank you Clem, because you're going to see that your timeline and Mets Twitter is at least a little bit better without the king of the cranks fucking complaining every 2 seconds. I mean, what you would have had to like lose out the rest of the way for Frank to even win that bet, right? I mean, it was like over before it even fucking started.
At the worst, it was going to be a wash because we went 5-2 basically right off the bat. You know why? Because we played the Rangers, Reds, and Marlins. I was like, the Alcantara game is going to be tough. The Rangers have a couple of good pitchers that are going to be tough. And other than that, we're going to fucking win. And we won. So thank you, Frank. I'll bet him every month whenever he goes on his little Frank the Tank rants. Like Kyle fact checks the shit out of him. And if I ever talk to him, we'll put stuff on the line and he's going to lose. And I already have the weird, I already got here. I got our boy Chuck Naso here. He says free Frank the Tank. That is a declaration of war. That is a declaration of war. The Sons of Uribe treaty right there. That is trying to break it.
Listen, Sons of Uribe went out the fucking window when Reinsdorf tried to block Cohen. I'm done with you and your little affair that you're having with the White Sox. Fuck the Chicago White Sox. Fuck Reinsdorf and fuck anybody associated. They declared war on our owner, Clem. I don't give a fuck what White Sox Dave and Chuck and all your little friends say. Whoever is an enemy of Cohen is an enemy of us. That's the fucking rules.
They are hostages of Reinsdorf, like we were hostages of the
And
Wilpons.
they need to declare themselves, and they need to break free away from the White Sox. If you are a fan of them or a part of them in any way, you are on our list. Fuck your list. Clem, I'm not even joking. If we meet Steve Cohen one day, I'm going to say, you know who he likes? The White Sox. I'm going to throw you right under the fucking bus.
Oh, don't you dare. Don't you fucking dare, Kevin.
So you admit that you would be embarrassed if Cohen found out about it. So that means you should disavow them. Rebuke them.
I will never.
Right now, I will not let the podcast go on. Rebuke them.
No. I will never rebuke a fan base because they are held by a hostage by an awful owner.
They declared war. They tried to stop, dude.
Jerry Reinsdorf declared war, not the White Sox fans. It's two different things.
I thought you were going to say you were out on them when they tried to sell us a bag of beans for James McCann.
Oh, and that one too. Those sons of fucking bitches. There's even more reason. Pile it on.
I rebuke Chuck Naso as of right now. And anyone that says free Frank the Tank, you're rebuked. I'm going to mute you on Twitter immediately. And there's one way to get Frank the Tank to start talking again. Because I'm a businessman like Uncle Stevie. Cash rules everything around me as well. $100,000. The Venmo is open. The Clem Report. It hits 100K. You get Frank the Tank. There happens to be a very big Frank the Tank fan that I know is a millionaire. He can fucking give me $100,000 right this instant. That is Frank's Twitter bail bond number. And it's not $1 less.
This is like Pay Smitty. When we opened the shirts and nobody fucking bought them. You're gonna be, you like Frank the Tank? All right, let's Venmo it. Not $1 is gonna be spent on that guy. Yo, he tweeted 59 times from the game that he was at. He was at the ballpark and fired off 60 fucking tweets. All of them ended up being wrong.
Did you see the video of him screaming? So he screams at the game and he's got his glasses on and then he goes into battle mode and he just like drops them to his nose so he can do it on his phone. I was like, oh, he's like a transformer.
I could not imagine. Think about how much money those people probably paid to get those tickets and you have Frank just screaming in your ear.
Bro, imagine that.
21 minutes.
Imagine you like spend your paycheck to bring the family out for your one big trip a year. And Frank and his big fat belly voice is screaming in your ear about easy out Escobar for fucking 9 innings straight. Oh,
so he is silenced for the rest of July, which, by the way, an Alcantara start, a Brave series, a Yankee series, and a Padres series. That is a lot off the fans.
Here's the problem. I got up so hard for that West Coast gauntlet that I didn't realize that, like, the gauntlet hasn't stopped. We've had a couple. No, I shouldn't say that because we did have that run of Rangers, Reds, Marlins. But like in between there, having the Astros, having Alcantara a couple times, and then right into this is like the schedule has just flat out been hard for like 2 months. And I'm not going to go over the schedule too much because we did that ad nauseum when the Mets were playing bad teams. And now you look at the Braves, it's like I thought their schedule was going to flip. And by the time they get to them, the Cardinals aren't playing good baseball anymore. The Mets are injured and their offense is anemic. Like it's not about like who you play, it's about when you play them. And the way that it's broken for us recently has not been great as far as like who and when and injuries and all that. But you know, this is like the hard month. I thought June was going to be hard. This is fucking crazy.
I hate to tell you too, Kev, just looking ahead here in August, it doesn't
get much better.
Yeah, we have the Braves twice, we have the Phillies twice, we have the Yankees, and we have the Dodgers. But then there's a couple Nats, Colorado.
What the fuck is going on with the schedule?
Because
September is the easy month.
September is the easy month. It all comes back in September. And
what's September?
September, it's like Pirates, A's, like the shitty teams the fucking Braves beat up on in June.
Meaningful games in September.
Yo,
Yeah.
all right.
That's all we're looking for.
All right, listen, that actually, I think I'm actually okay with that then. If the final, 30 games are easy, like we've gone through as long as, you're still there, as long as you don't completely collapse, which I don't think they will. If everyone else's September is going to be tough and we're chilling, that might be worth it. But man, the next like 10 series is.
I'll read off our September. It goes obviously the one game versus the Dodgers. It goes Nats, Pirates, Marlins, Cubs, Pirates, Brewers, Athletics, Marlins, Braves, and a Nats end of season.
All right. I mean, that's basically like 2 series that I would really worry about, and that's it.
by the way, those teams are going to be absolute dog shit by then, and it's going to be a September call-up. So if they can't beat them, we're going to end up against like some minor league lefty who are like, oh, this should be easy, and then it's not. But
yeah, that will for sure happen. There'll also be some call-up like superstars who are getting their shot, which also brings me to, I know the catcher position is different. I just don't get the intense, like, why are we not just trying it? Why do we have to believe that if he comes up and struggles for like a couple weeks that he's ruined? Somebody tweeted me saying that like someone who knows him well in the scouting report says that he's very hard on himself and like emotionally is like not there yet when he plays well or when he plays poorly. Like if there's something like that I don't know, then fine. If you tell me the scouting report is like he does not handle failure well, and if he comes up here and bats, 090, he'll be ruined, then fine. But at every level, he I know he's struggling in AAA, but to crush AA, which is a lot of times even the better competition at the rate he did, and then you have an injury at that position, I just don't see why it's not like call him up. Nito can catch. Maybe Alvarez spells him one start here or there, DH him a couple times, and see what happens. Because it's just the ultimate what if. What if he's Michael Harris? What if he did what Conforto did in 2015? What if it's good? And if it's bad, you just start back. You just send him back down. It's not like a all or nothing, proposition.
And you're not giving him the expectation, go out there, be a star right away. No, the expectation is be better than James McCann.
Yeah. I feel like he comes up and he gets like one hit and we'll be happy. Like it could not have aligned better. You have an awful catcher. Fuck you, Chicago. Fuck you, White Sox Dave. Fuck you, Chuck Naso. He's hurt. Your backups are even worse. I mean, shout out to Patty Zeke, but dude, come on.
Do you remember what Patrick Mazik was doing before like McCann came back? We were starting Nito 6 times a week because he couldn't fucking catch.
Yeah, he like literally doesn't know the signs. He like can't catch the ball. It's the stars and the moons and the suns and the tides and literally everything has aligned to let this kid just get a shot. I don't care that he's 20. All the more reason. If he was like, it's almost worse if he was closer because it's like, well, if he comes up and he sucks, then maybe he's really not ready. If he comes up and he sucks, there's plenty of time to go back and get right. It just doesn't make, and especially if people are talking about him coming up in September. So all we're going to do is call him up 6 weeks earlier because of an injury? What's the fucking difference?
It's craziness.
Yes, you get a few more games under your belt at AAA, where he'll probably mash, and then we'll be like, well, he should have probably come up in that during that injury anyway. Like, just fucking try it.
Usually when they bring those guys up too, there's no film on them for the pro
Yes.
pitchers, so then he mashes. If all I need is a week and a half, and then you can send him right back down after the All-Star break.
Plug. Give me the spark plug where he hits a couple bombs because nobody has the book on him yet. Yep. He rallies the team a little bit. The All-Star break comes right as he goes like 0 for 9 with 8 strikeouts, like leading up to that, and you send him back down.
And like you said, the All-Star break, it is coming at the perfect time. Marte obviously has the groin injury. McNeil's having a kid at some goddamn point, which there's something with these Mets where they get the wives pregnant, but then the baby's just chilling there.
Let me go old school KFC for a moment on that. Is the baby born or not? I don't know their situation. I pray to God that everything is fine and healthy. If it's not, then I take all this back. But if this is a normal birth, is the baby being born or not being born? I've been hearing about this baby for fucking 6 weeks. And what is the baby here or not? How pregnant is she? What's going on?
Somebody get
on the paternity list when the baby comes.
Somebody get Joey Cora into the fucking room and he'll wave that motherfucker home. That's all he does. He's green like Cora. What are we doing right now? God damn it.
What is happening? I've heard about Jeff McNeil on the paternity list for no less than 2 weeks. Is the baby alive or not? What is happening?
When we played the Monday game versus the Marlins and went to Houston. That was a month ago.
It's crazy. It's nuts. And I hate the day after Father's Day. The day after Father's Day. That's when we heard it first. It is so insane. And when the baby comes, I don't care if it's the Braves. I don't care if it's the World Series. You go be with your baby. That's absolutely okay. But when you're missing games, when the baby's not here, unless, again, if she needs some sort of help, I also understand that. But if everything's all good, What is going on? Oh man. Oh, it's funny. The Jeff McNeil baby that never. Oh my god, it's so fucking funny.
And then on the other side of the second baseman, we have an old friend coming back tonight in Braves uniform, Robinson Cano.
Oh, that is such a dickhead move.
They did the same thing. Who's the outfielder that came back and fucked us? Billy
Hamilton?
No, remember the Wilpons wouldn't give him $1 million.
Oh,
Maria. That's Maria.
Yeah, that was my guy.
Because that type of situation, I will lose my fucking mind.
That was, dude. I do have to say about the Braves, like ordinarily, it feels like there's animosity between fans and the players all kind of get along. I think the Braves are kind of motherfuckers. Like I think that they like talk shit. I think Acuna runs his mouth a lot. I think that like he's always like doing like a Spanish interview where he's like, yeah, fuck those guys. They do things like this where that's undoubtedly going to be like, give us all your fucking secrets on your best buddy Lindor and all that shit. Like we'll find out real quick how close Robinson Cano and Francisco Lindor were, because the Braves, broke him off a chunk of change to probably just sit here and be like, tell us everything about this team that you know. I hope he goes in there and lies his dick off. And like one last show of good faith to your buddies over at the Mets, Robinson. Just feed them bad information all week long.
Because Uncle Stevie's still going to be sending those checks to you. So come on, just hook us up one more time.
I hope as soon as that was announced, I hope that Steve was on the phone with Robinson Cano's agent being like, all right, what are they paying you? I'll send the duffel bag over tomorrow. $1 extra. Just make sure that he, doesn't do anything this series. That is grimy, man. I kind of like it. Like I do, if that's what they're doing and that's why they want him and they think that, I know that he's not gonna like play for them, right? Like if somehow Robinson Cano has an at bat and like I'm not even gonna say it. If something like that happens, I promise you this, I'm looking right into the camera. I will kill myself. There will be I will kill myself. That's it for me. If Robinson Cano somehow, again, I don't even want to say it or put it out there in the universe, I will kill myself.
And I know it's going to be against Ottavino too, who is just going to go right into that beautiful swing. I'm just saying it right now. That is why they signed him. They saw that vision and they're like, fuck it. It means nothing to us. We can just pick him up, throw him on the squad for a few days, gives us some secrets about the pitchers, the hitters, and then they can just cut bait.
Motherfucker. Just do steroids and come back home.
But I don't even want Uncle Stevie making the call. This is who I'm making the call. I want the Ghostface Killer making the call. I want the Wu-Tang Clan. What did they say? Remember that old documentary where they're like, the Wu-Tang, they were there too. Like at the Source Awards, right? And there was that person like a fucking mask on. I want someone from Shaolin to call and go to Robinson. Go, Robinson. 3 strikes, you're out, buddy. 3 strikes, you're out. The Cohen Ghostface Killer shirt is on sale at the Barstool Sports. We'll put it in the chat right now. I do not know how long this is going to be up. It might already be down.
1 hour. Everybody needs to buy this shirt right fucking now if they want it. This is old school Barstool where we are throwing all of the rules out the window. Buy this shirt now.
Yeah, there's a lot of things on here that could be a problem. So get it now or forever hold your peace. That is the fucking juju cleanser that we need going into this series. The matchups, the pitching matchups. Scherzer versus Fried tonight. Peterson, Strider tomorrow. Strider is fucking sick, apparently. We have our watch party tomorrow night, too. It was supposed to be tonight. Got bumped in tomorrow. The Battle of the Maxes would have been a hell of a time. There it is right there. A couple of handsome fellas right there. Blue Haven East, 34th and 3rd in the city. We got Coors Light giveaways. We got merch giveaways. All that kind of stuff going to be awesome. Last time they had like a McNeil hat. They had a bunch of stuff that I think it was a fucking Lindor jersey, right? It was like a Lindor, I think it was like even a signed Lindor thing. So a lot of good stuff there. Shout out Coors Light for hooking it up.
Double tap, 5 minutes of fury. If you get there for the first pitch, free Coors Light.
There you go. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. And we're going to need to band together right now, Mets fans. You can't let all the dumb idiot trolls in the other division. Don't quote retweet fucking trolls that are Braves fans. That is what they want you to do. Honestly, the community especially.
I'm talking to you now, not as the Mets fan, because I know we don't see eye to eye. A lot of Mets fans don't like my style of being a fan, and I don't like theirs. I'm talking to you now as just like a person on the internet. I've done it longer than you have, and I've been in the trenches for fucking 15 years. Don't get got. Don't take the bait. Don't get trolled by these fucking hillbillies in Atlanta. Just let the Mets do their thing. Let Max shove and don't fall victim to any of their little fucking gimmicks. They're one of the most like I used to have fun with them. I used to call them the Braves Chirp Crew. Back in the day, there was the BCC, and they were a group of like funny dudes who were stoolies. And at the time, the Mets weren't good, so it never really meant much. But they were funny, and they were always chirping. The Braves Chirp Crew was a crew of guys that I can respect. But like everything else on the internet the last 10 years, it's all spiraled out of control, and everything that once was funny has now become a bunch of fucking assholes. So don't take the bait.
Just don't take the bait. Come party with us.
You got plenty. Don't fight the Braves fans. Just come, fight the other Mets fans who you're at odds with. There's plenty of other people in your own fan base to fight, you fucking dicks.
So again, game 1, we got the Battle of the Maxes tonight. We got Peterson Strider tomorrow, and then 12:20 game for game 3. Chris Bassett, Charlie Morton going in, and
bro, you're telling me the potential rubber game for Mets Braves is gonna be at noon? That's crazy, dude.
Buckle the fuck up, folks, because it's going to be wild. I don't know what kind of offense we're going to get. I think the pitching is going to deliver, but we'll have to see. And this is like, we have to face the actual fully functional Braves team, and we'll see. I don't know if Marte's playing. I don't know if McNeil's playing. I don't know how that shit's going to go. Diaz is probably going to be unavailable for game 1 because he pitched the last 2 games against a shit Marlins team. But no matter what the fucking fan base is saying to each other, no matter what the team is doing or not doing on the field, you gotta believe. You gotta believe. You gotta believe.